Do you think your English listening is already advanced? Think again. Many C1 and even C2 learners still struggle with real British conversations. Today, I'm putting your skills to the ultimate test, from A1 beginner level all the way to C2 mastery. One question: will you understand everything, or will native British English catch you out? Let's find out right now. Today, I am going to test your listening skills all the way from A1, the very beginning of English, to C2, the most advanced level of English. Each audio clip will increase in difficulty, and we will analyze some of the most interesting vocabulary, grammar, and pronunciation from each clip. And if you think you're already at C1 or C2, don't skip ahead. You might be surprised by some of the things that come up in our lower level clips. I'd like to give you a free ebook. It's my B1 to C1 ebook, and it contains everything that you need to know in order to pass the B1, B2, and C1 levels of English. There is so much in there. I'm giving it to you for free in preparation for our Black Friday sale. This is my biggest event of the year. My students literally wait all year for this because they know two things. One, I always go a bit mad with the offer. And two, my programs genuinely transform your English. So, if you want to download this B1 to C1 ebook for free and sign up for the waiting list for my huge Black Friday sale so that you'll be the first to know, click on the link in the description box or scan the QR code there. Okay, let's start with the test. I'm going to play a series of audio clips. The first time I play each clip, there will be no text on screen, just a question for you to answer. Then I will play it once more with the transcript, but with some key words missing. You need to fill in the gaps, and then we'll analyze some of the interesting language features. Let's begin with an A1 level clip. Now, if you've ever visited the UK, it's possible that you arrived at London Heathrow. Our first clip is from a documentary called Heathrow, Britain's busiest airport. So remember, first I'll play the audio with no text on screen. Just listen and answer the question, and make sure you turn off subtitles if you want to do this properly. The question is, how many people travel through Heathrow Airport each year? London Heathrow, Europe's biggest and busiest airport, transporting more than 73 million passengers every year. Just your passport, please? That's fine. How many passengers? Okay, the answer is 73 million passengers. Passenger is a slightly higher level word, around A2 level, and refers to a person who's traveling, not working, on a plane, bus, train, and so on. Okay, let's listen again. Try and fill in the blanks with one word in each space. London Heathrow, Europe's biggest and busiest airport, transporting more than 73 million passengers every year. Just your passport, please. That's fine. How many passengers? So we have London Heathrow, Europe's biggest and busiest airport. These are our superlative forms of big and busy. And notice the spelling changes there. We need to double the G for the comparative and superlative forms, and Y becomes I in busiest. Be careful, because the letter U is pronounced as a short I. Busy, busiest. Next, we have transporting more than 73 million passengers. A common error I hear at this level is more that. It should be more than. For example, I have more than 10 friends. The airport worker asks for just your passport, please, and another worker asks how many passengers. Some A1 learners confuse how with who. How many with the short A sound is used to talk about quantity. Who with the long oo vowel sound is used to talk about a person. Okay, did you get all of that? Let's step things up a level. We'll head into London for the following A2 level clip from Britain's favourite walks. Listen and answer the question, where is the speaker walking? I grew up in West London, so I spent my whole life kind of walking along by the river, and it's one of the few places in London you get a bit of kind of perspective. It's a treasure. The answer is along or by the river. The speaker says both. Along is an A2 preposition, meaning in a line following the side of something. By is a more basic word with a similar meaning, near or at the side of something. Along usually suggests movement, but we can use by to show position. For example, I walked along the river with Diego. I want a house by the river. Okay, let's listen to the clip again. Try and fill in the gaps, one word in each space. I grew up in West London, so I spent my whole life kind of walking along by the river, and it's one of the few places in London you get a bit of kind of perspective. It's a treasure. We have grew up, the past simple of grow up. This phrasal verb means to become an adult. We normally give more energy to the second word in phrasal verbs. I grew up in. Some speakers add a soft W sound to glide between the vowel sounds. Grew up in. Where did you grow up? Next, the speaker said he spent his whole life walking along the river. He uses the present perfect here to show this is something he started doing as a child and still continues to do. And notice the collocation spend time, not pass time. This is a mistake I hear a lot. We generally use spend time when we talk about using our time for a particular purpose. For example, I enjoy spending time with my mom, not I enjoy passing time with my mom. And finally, we have one of the few places. The structure one of the is followed by a plural noun. I often hear students at this level say, for example, one of the thing I love, but it's not correct. We should say one of the things I love. It's one of many. Okay, did you still find that pretty easy? If so, let's move on to B1. The next clip is from an actor and comedian, Stephen Mangan, and he's answering the question, what's in my suitcase, and lists some items he never travels without. What's in my suitcase? Well, I always bring a pillow because I'm really fussy like that, and I can't stand other people's pillows. Also, other people have been sleeping on those pillows. I always bring something to play music on because I like to have music, and even though some hotel rooms have something, you can never be too careful. So far, he's mentioned a pillow and something to play music on. Let's jump in at number 3. Listen and answer the question, what other 3 objects does he always bring when he travels? Number 3, I always bring a pair of sunglasses because I've got a quite weird face and lots of glasses don't look that good on me. 4, I always bring about 25 phone chargers because I'm just paranoid that I won't be able to charge my phone because what am I going to do without my phone? Will I exist if my phone runs out of battery? I won't exist. And 5, I always bring a book. I like to read a book, especially on a beach. Well done if you caught sunglasses, phone chargers, about 25 to be precise, and a book. What 5 items would you never travel without? Let me know in the comments. Let's listen again for some more detail and fill in each gap with one word. Number 3, I always bring a pair of sunglasses because I've got a quite weird face and lots of glasses don't look that good on me. 4, I always bring about 25 phone chargers because I'm just paranoid that I won't be able to charge my phone because what am I going to do without my phone? Will I exist if my phone runs out of battery? I won't exist. And 5, I must bring a book. I like to read a book, especially on a beach. We'll go through the answers for this one a bit differently. Here they all are. We have weird, paranoid, to be able to, and run out of. Now here's a synonym for each word or phrase. Can you match each word from the clip with a word that has the same meaning? We have can use all of something, worried, and strange. So, in the context of this clip, weird means strange, paranoid is worried, be able to is can, and run out of means to use all of something. And remember, can doesn't have an infinitive form, so we can't say, I won't can charge my phone. Use I won't be able to instead. Run out of is a really useful B1 phrasal verb. I wonder if you've heard it before. You can run out of time, money, milk, shampoo, ideas, the list goes on. Okay, well done if you knew most of those words. So that last clip had basic grammar but more advanced vocabulary. Our next B1 Plus clip is more challenging because of its grammar and also because the speaker's delivery is pretty fast. We're in the beautiful, historic city of Bath at the First Dates restaurant. Listen to the short clip and tell me what problem did they have on the date.
What about your first date? Oh my God. I think all I remember is just staring at this menu for so long I didn't know what you meant to do. We just didn't know what to say to each other. So I think if the menus had been taken away, we probably would have found something.
Oh, this sounds very uncomfortable. They didn't know what to say to each other. Maybe they were shy or inexperienced. Anyway, it sounds like it was rather awkward. We'll listen again now and look at some of the challenging vocabulary and grammar.
What about your first date? Oh my God. I think all I remember is just staring at this menu for so long I didn't know what you meant to do. We just didn't know what to say to each other. So I think if the menus had been taken away, we probably would have found something.
That was quite fast, wasn't it? Did you get any or all of the missing words? First, we have staring. This is a B2 level word, so well done if you caught this. To stare means to look at someone or something for a long time, maybe because you're tired, angry, or confused. For the speaker in our clip, she was probably staring at the menu as she was too embarrassed to look anywhere else. Next, we have meant, the past of mean. And notice the pronunciation here. It's a short E sound, even though we have two vowels. Mean, meant, meant. I didn't know what you were meant to do is the same as I didn't know what was expected in that situation. Now let's take a closer look at the grammar in this final sentence. The speaker says, so I think if the menus had been taken away, we probably would have found something to say. This is an example of the third conditional, and it's often taught at the end of B1 courses, shortly before moving on to B2. And speaking of B1 and B2 courses, we will be offering an incredible discount over the Black Friday period. So make sure you sign up to the wait list and get your B1 to C1 ebook for free. The link's in the description box, or you can scan the QR code there. So how do we form the third conditional? Well, in this case, we have if plus past perfect plus would have plus past participle. And that's quite a lot to put together, and this phrase is even more complex as we have a past perfect passive, had been taken away by the waiter. Adding to the difficulty of the clip are the contracted forms the speaker uses, menused, would've, for example. You don't need to use these yourself when speaking, especially at B1, B2 level, but it's important to be able to recognize them when listening. We use the third conditional to imagine a different past. No one took the menus away, so they didn't find anything to say to each other. Okay, are the listenings getting a little bit more challenging for you now, or are they still a walk in the park, a piece of cake? Next up is a B2 level clip from a documentary series called The Heart of Britain. Listen and answer the question. Where is the speaker, presenter Matt Baker, going? Across the country, there's over 1.5 billion train journeys a year. And I'm heading to the station in England that's the busiest of them all, London's Liverpool Street, to meet the unsung heroes who keep this place on track. If you're one of the hundreds of thousands of people who pass through here every day, you might not notice them, but they're always here going the extra mile to get us where we need to be. People like William, in charge of mobility assistance, who is a lifeline to many. Platform 3 we're after here. He's heading or going to Liverpool Street train station, London's busiest train station. So to head is a B1 kind of more B2 level alternative for to go to or to go towards. Where are you heading means the same as where are you going. Now I find the B2 level particularly interesting, as it's when you start to learn some more idiomatic language and maybe even start to notice wordplay, which I love. Let's listen to the clip again, fill in the gaps, and see if you can spot two idiomatic expressions connected to trains and train journeys. Across the country, there's over 1.5 billion train journeys a year, and I'm heading to the station in England that's the busiest of them all, London's Liverpool Street, to meet the unsung heroes who keep this place on track. If you're one of the hundreds of thousands of people who pass through here every day, you might not notice them, but they're always here going the extra mile to get us where we need to be. People like William, in charge of mobility assistance, who is a lifeline to many. Platform 3 we're after here. So Matt's on his way to meet who he calls the unsung heroes that work at Liverpool Street. An unsung hero is a person who is not praised or noticed for their hard work, but deserves to be. The next two phrases are very clever, as they have both a literal and a figurative or idiomatic meaning. We have keep this place on track and going the extra mile. Trains run on tracks. This is the literal meaning. But if someone keeps something on track, they make sure everything goes correctly. A mile is a measurement of distance, but we can use the idiomatic expression to go the extra mile to mean to make an extra effort, more effort than is expected of you. An example, William is the unsung hero who goes the extra mile to assist people with reduced mobility. These are people who cannot move around easily, often because of age, illness, injury, or disability. And I just have to mention the last phrase that Matt uses. I love it so much. He says, platform 3 we're after here. So the informal phrase, to be after someone or something, means to be looking for someone or something. For example, you're staring into the fridge, Mum. What are you after? What are you looking for? Okay, we're really warming up now. This next clip is around B2 to C1 level, as it contains some really advanced vocabulary. We're heading to a beautiful area of Britain, the Yorkshire Dales. Listen and answer the question, why are the Yorkshire Dales considered so significant? So far on our coast-to-coast adventure, we've covered the Lake District leg, but it's time to join up to 5 million visitors a year by heading deep into Dale country. The Yorkshire Dales are actually 42% of the country's most important landscapes and wildlife, along with red squirrels, peregrine falcons, and many rare plants and mosses. The Dales are home to some distinctive sheep breeds, such as Swaledales with their black faces and curled horns. The answer is because they house some of the country's most important landscapes and wildlife. And notice I said house with a voiced Z sound at the end, not house with the unvoiced S. Now that's because this is the verb form, meaning to give a place for a person or animal to live. Landscape is what we can see when we look around, especially in nature. For example, mountains, hills, rivers, and so on. Wildlife refers to the animals, plants, and insects, etc., that live in nature. Let's listen again. This time, try and catch the missing wildlife words. This is tough. You ready? So far on our coast-to-coast adventure, we've covered the Lake District leg, but it's time to join up to 5 million visitors a year by heading deep into Dale country. The Yorkshire Dales are actually 42% moorland and some of the country's most important landscapes and wildlife, along with red squirrels, peregrine falcons, and many rare plants and mosses. The Dales are home to some distinctive sheep breeds, such as Swaledales with their black faces and curled horns. First, we have red squirrels. Squirrel. This is a small animal with a big tail and large ears that collects food and stores it for winter. Now, this word is notoriously difficult to pronounce. The squa cluster at the beginning can be hard. Squirrel, squirrel. Next, peregrine falcons. Peregrines are a bird of prey that are incredibly fast when diving. I wonder if you have them where you live. Next up, mosses. These are small, soft green plants that grow on damp trees and rocks. And finally, sheep breeds, such as Swaledales, a tough breed of sheep from the Yorkshire Dales, famous for its rounded horns. Now we've got even more advanced vocabulary in this clip. Words like leg, meaning a part of a journey, and moord, a word that describes areas of Britain covered in rough grass. Okay, are you ready for our final clip, which is our C2 level clip? We're going to listen to actor and comedian Danny Dyer. He's going to tell us how he likes his tea. Now, I warn you, this clip is incredibly challenging on so many levels. First, we have Danny Dyer's strong Cockney accent. We also have some informal colloquial language, some non-standard grammar, and of course, some C2 level vocabulary. Listen to Danny Dyer explaining his perfect cup of tea and answer the question, how does Danny like his tea?
I like a strong cup of tea. And I know some people are very different. Some people leave the tea bag in. That's always a nutty one. I like my cup of tea. It should be the same colour as a Werther's. A Werther's original. Is that a British thing? Werther's.
Oh yeah, love a Werther's.
Interesting. Werther's. Because when I do a play, you know when it's a matinee and it's all the old lot, in the old girls sitting in the front row falling a kip, but you get a hit of Werther's as you walk out on the stage. It's like, makes you faint. Although I like the smell of it. So I'd leave the tea bag in as long as possible and then rinse the life out of it. Some people use a tea bag again, didn't they? And I get that. That was tough, wasn't it? Okay, feel free to go back and listen again. You can even slow the clip down if you want. So, when describing his tea habits, Danny says he likes a strong cup of tea. He likes it to be the same color as a Werther's original. That's a great way to describe how you like your tea. He is very creative. Werther's are a traditional German sweet, but they're very popular in the UK. They are delicious. They have a caramel color. I wonder if you've ever tried them. And he leaves the tea bag in the water as long as possible. Let's listen again and go a bit deeper into some of the expressions Danny uses and take a closer look at his accent. Are you ready? Try and fill each gap with one word. I like a strong cup of tea. And I know some people are very different. Some people leave the tea bag in. That's always a nutty one. I like my cup of tea should be the same colour as a Werther's. A Werther's original. Is that a British thing? Werther's. Oh yeah, love a Werther's. Interesting. Werther's, because when I do a play, and it's a matinee, and it's all the old lot in the old girls sitting in the front row falling a kip, but you get a hit of Werther's as you walk out on the stage. It's like, makes you faint. Although I like the smell of it. So I'd leave the tea bag in as long as possible, and then rinse the life out of it. Some people use the tea bag again, didn't they? And I get that. Okay, Danny doesn't say, I like a strong cup of tea. He says, I like a strong cup of tea, dropping the of sound, cup of tea. Some people leave the tea bag in. That's always a nutty one. So nutty here is an informal word that means a little bit strange or crazy. I pronounce the th in Werther's with a th sound. But did you notice that Danny used a v instead? Werther's original. So this is very common in Cockney and some other British accents. He then talks about when he does matinee plays, or should I say matinee, with a glottal stop in the middle. This is another common feature of Cockney accents, replacing the T in the middle of a word with a glottal stop, matinee. A matinee is an afternoon performance of a theater play or film.
They're popular with families, with children, and older people, and me. I'm not one for a late night, and you can often get tickets a bit cheaper than usual. Next, we have the wonderful informal expression fall in a kip, which means falling asleep. We can use kip as an informal word for a short sleep or a nap. I must say, fall in a kip is not very common, but using kip on its own is fairly common. Now, after leaving the tea bag in the water for as long as possible, Danny likes to rinse the life out of it. So this is a great informal expression that in this context means to squeeze out every last bit of flavor and strength from the tea bag.